It's going. It's good.
Hey!
We had some technical problems.
The fucking gremlins got us. The fuck?
You know what?
Hey, Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to everybody. I was going to start with the video. I don't know what happened, but we got it. So sorry for the delay, everyone, but we're
Hey,
here. I don't see Beth either.
They're busy.
All right. We're here. So all the fun can start. Well, hey, that was fucked up, but we're going to start the way we always start because that's the way I want to start, and that's what we're going to do. And I want to see if it works anyway.
They send it up, and they've carried through.
Two big guys going at it, boy.
This is a big guy battle. Wow.
Well, an advantage for the Ranger. Remke had no helmet for Johnston, so those punches are going to hurt a little more when they land.
They're letting them go.
One guy 6'7". How big's Johnston? 6'5".
No, I think he's 6'7" also. That's pretty good size.
They send it up.
You gotta start off the right way, man.
They send it up.
I should have been Renby last night against Maroon.
Oh man, we got a lot to talk about. I want to definitely cover that. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh man, sorry for the delay, everyone. We had some technical difficulties, but it's not the first time, and I'm sure it won't be the last. Hey, how are you? Rumpy's back in Hartford. Yes, he is. No signal. We should be coming through good now. It looks like the signal's much better. So we'll wait for everybody to file in. If you don't know, that's Chris Kotsopoulos, former NHL defenseman, and for our New York Rangers, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, played for the Detroit Red Wings as well. Yeah, Hartford Whalers.
Oh, fuck the Detroit Red Wings.
Hey, I watched this thing with Scotty Bowman last week. Oh, boy. They were talking about the Russian Five. Konstantinov, Larionov, Fedorov, Fatistov, all these.
Get your cock off. They fucking ruined the NHL, those guys.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Well, Happy New Year, like Kotzi said before. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a great New Year and a great Christmas. And, we're just going to get back at it here. Today's a great day in our country's history. We're going to have a real president real soon, so I'm very excited. Donald Trump, 2024, baby.
And
Hey, let's talk about the guy over in Canada.
the girly boy up north, he resigned.
Yeah, so what are they going to do with that now, pal?
Well, I think that's a great thing for Canada.
So do I.
A lot of people not happy with him up there. I wasn't happy with him either. I mean, he was just another one of those progressive liberals that seem to ruin everything. Anyhow, before we get going, let's congratulate Team USA Juniors.
Well, we are. That's definitely part of getting going here. I
want to congratulate them, man. They were down 3-1 yesterday to the Finns, and it didn't look good.
I know.
Good for a long time, and they managed to tie the game up and win it in overtime. And the Canadians have got nothing to complain about. This is what happens to you when you leave so many guys open to be drafted at 18 and 19. Connor Bedard would be playing in that junior game. You understand? So they got nobody to blame but themselves. This is the product you brought. That's the product you lost with. The USA did what they had to do.
2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I told you years ago when I was doing Quinnipiac hockey that the USA has made remarkable steps upward to being as good as hockey as any hockey in the world. So
Yeah.
they're starting to prove it.
Good stuff, man. Yeah. I actually posted that on our Instigator page. There was a couple of different calls, and I thought, I thought one of the calls I had marked it, just gave me chills. How, what a great call to call that in overtime and the goal, and just, quite the accomplishments. 2 years in a row for the first time for the World Juniors, for Team USA. So really good stuff there. Gabe Perreault is
Ranger prospect. Yeah, he did well. He did really well. 10 points in the tournament.
Yeah, 10 points in the tourney. Lot to say about the kid. So good stuff there. Good stuff. I always enjoy the World Juniors. I didn't get to really dig in this year the way I have in years past.
I watched enough of it to. You know what I enjoyed about it is they let a lot of stuff go on the physical side of the game, like it should be, where the NHL would not allow that stuff.
Right.
Let these guys play. Let them figure it out themselves. The World Juniors is way more physical than the NHL is right now. It is. It's a fact.
I was watching our podcast and how crazy I got with the Reeves thing. I didn't realize how nuts I got at the time, but I was a fucking man possessed, boy. I was pissed off. I know everybody loves when I'm pissed off. So we missed some time. We got a lot to talk about. I didn't buckle down to any real specific articles. There's so many things we can talk about, though. Start with the World Juniors.
We'll wing it like we usually do. I just want to bring up at this moment right now, the top teams in the league. Who would pick Washington Capitals to be the big beast in the East right now? With that old man Russian guy that you love so much on that team.
Nobody, right? Nobody would have picked them.
You know what they did? They added some players to that team. And not only did they add good players, they added size to that team. They're a big squad. This guy Protas, I never heard of this guy Protas, period, until this year or a little bit last. And next, my Toronto Maple Leafs, with and without Austin Matthews at times, are still right up there, right behind the Washington Capitals. And, from there goes to the New Jersey Devils, who have rebounded from a horrible year where they were pretty good 2-3 years ago. Now they're a serious team.
Yeah,
team in the East, and
they got goaltending now too.
Well, yeah, they're a fast hockey club, and you go out west, and all of a sudden Las Vegas has crept its way to the top of the Western Division right now. And they're a team that's proven themselves over the years, and they won a Stanley Cup a few years back, and they look pretty damn good right now. Winnipeg still solid, number 2, but a couple of different ones I never thought would be up there. Minnesota and the Kings.
Minnesota and the Kings, yeah.
So maybe Mark Osborne, my former teammate in Toronto, likes to bust my balls on Facebook, who's a scout for LA, is finally figuring out how to get some good players in LA. Just in case you're listening, Mark, you're doing a good job. But up till this year, you were doing a shit job.
Oh, boy.
Mark Osborne was a great teammate of mine in Toronto, and he was also a New York Ranger. One thing we have in common, we played for the Rangers, we played for the Leafs, and we played for the Red Wings.
Oh, wow.
Or Dead Wings, or Dead Wings, whatever way you want to call it.
It's so funny. So funny. For years, I think I told, but for years, I was always a closet Red Wings fan.
Of course you were, and it hurt me to know that.
No, that's where I was going with it.
That organization with the beginning of your Fantastic Five and throughout the late 90s, early 2000s, ruined this league with all their European stuff. Ruined it.
I know, but come on, you gotta love Eisenman, Shanahan, McCarthy. Come on.
Oh, you
Come
think
on.
they ruined it with the you know what?
I understand, but
These kind of players. Remember these guys? Look, take a look. Good
is
close
that a
look.
ninja? What is that guy? Is it
The
ninja?
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. I love the Planet of the Apes, man, by the way. You collect more shit, dude. You always got something else.
Of course
You know what I love? I love the Planet of the Apes. The other thing that Kotze has a lot of is the Creature of the Black Lagoon, man. That's some cool stuff.
And
Is that Boss?
I collect Boss.
Is that Boss? He's a good bull.
Yes, he
That's
is.
a good dog.
Yeah, go. He's got to go out. I'll be right back. 2 seconds.
The Cano Corso.
Yeah.
The Italian bloodhound. What do they call them again? The Italian Italian Mastiff.
They're called Italian Mastiffs, Cane Corsos.
Yeah.
They're bear hunters back in the day.
And the female that he's got, Luna, she eats people. So
Yeah.
they have to find a person, cut them up, and feed it to the dog. No.
Only one person she's safe with, other than Lisa and I, and that's Cody.
Yeah, that's Cody.
All the rest of you could be a victim.
Yes. So, speaking of which, all these great teams. Our team isn't there. I had to charge my phone, man, but I gotta take a look at a couple of things here. Yeah, Beth. Sorry, we're a little bit delayed, but that's done. So I wanted to bring up a couple of cool things. Once I get them loaded up here, we'll talk. Obviously, we'll talk about everything around the league, or at least the fun stuff around the league. But like Kotze said, the standings. Who thought? It's funny because I was thinking the same thing. Like a lot of things like that, where nobody thought the Capitals would be. Pushing right now to they have the best. I think they have one of the best records, if not
Technically, they have the second highest points in the league. I think Vegas has them by 2 points.
And right now they're losing to the Sabres, so that's good news.
The Sabres have been a mystery to me. I remember a couple of years ago they looked like they were building,
and then what happened, right?
They still got a lot of like really good young studs on that team, but I guess playing in front of 8,000 people doesn't get you fired up. That's what they average in Buffalo right now.
Right.
Which is shocking to me because when I played, the old odd in Buffalo was packed to the rafters. So
yeah.
I guess they're spending all their money on the Buffalo Bills football wise now. That's
Well, you know what I find amusing, Kotz, is talking about team standings. Right now, Tampa Bay, Pittsburgh, Ottawa, Columbus, Montreal, Philadelphia, Detroit, New York. First of all, from Tampa Bay to the New York Rangers, and we'll talk about that, is only, a 3-point lead.
four, as bad as they've been, and we'll get into them later.
Oh, you're right.
It's 4 points from the wild card. But the only problem with that is you got 5 teams to pass to get to that wild card.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to lose every night. Not everybody's going to win every night. You know what I mean? So.
Right. I'm surprised to see Montreal where they are. I'm surprised to see Columbus where they are. And again, I mean, it's not like it's not like they're ripping the cover off the ball, but with 39 and 40 points. But
you're about Montreal.
Montreal has 39 points.
Well, isn't it about time? I mean, they started playing good. I mean, like how long have we been waiting? We've been waiting since Errol Flynn died.
And I got to tell you, did you see that fight with Errol Flynn? Did you see that fight with Olivier and Jacky?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, man, that Olivier, he holds his own with everyone.
Oh, he's a smart fighter. He's a good player.
He's tough as nails, boy.
He's a smart fighter, and he's a good player. He's got like almost 10 goals this year too.
Yeah, he is a very good hockey player, man. I tell you what, gotta love him.
Speaking of, before we get going, that reminds me of a fight. The fight Sam Carrick had with Brendan Dillon in Jersey. I'm telling you, Carrick won that fight.
I like Carrick.
Carrick won that fight. He's fighting a super heavyweight, and he gets the nod over Brendan Dillon. And
I like that. I don't care what anyone says. I like that move. I like Carrick. I think he brings character to that line, to the team. I'd like to see him get more ice time, to be honest with you. He does play them regular, but I like Carrick, and I don't disagree with you. I think that was a good fight. And, he definitely
I think he won that fight. To be honest, I thought he won it. I thought when he dropped his gloves, I'm going, a little biting off a little too much here. But when you look at that fight, I think he won that fight.
Thought he was going to go with the big one.
With who?
I thought he was going to go with Maroon last night. But
well, listen, I get it why they didn't do anything last night, but there's nothing worse than having a bench where somebody stands by your bench, and we're not even talking like 4 or 5 feet away. He's leaning right on your bench, giving you the fucking business. Okay, like that would not happen in our day. Something would have happened.
Yeah,
okay? I'm not saying it's right, but something would have happened.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the lineup that the Rangers have right now, I'm not sure there's anybody that can handle Maroon.
Yeah. It sucks, but listen. So I wanted to talk about the East, and it probably is going to push us into the Ranger zone, but it's not like anybody's running away with it. I mean, Boston's got 45 points.
Yeah, remember when Boston stunk a little while ago?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they're like I think they're top 5 in the East.
Well, and as much as I hate PK Subban and I hate to listen to him, oh boy, that day, the day the Rangers played the Washington Capitals, he brought up a point, and I like the point in 2019 when the Blues were the last team in the league, and they won. And they won the Stanley Cup. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I just thought, they really sucked and they made changes. And then the next thing you know, they're winning the Cup. I don't know if that's going to happen to our favorite team, but, everybody can hope and dream about something. I wanted to go out west, though. Did you see Winnipeg being the team that they are, though, Kyle?
Yeah, because they've been a pretty good hockey club when it comes to regular season for the last 4 years, Pauly.
I mean, 56 points, man.
Well, but again, they've been they were like Tampa was before Tampa won their Stanley Cup. Remember how close Tampa kept getting it? Oh, disappointment. Winnipeg's gone the same way. Yeah. The difference is they haven't won a Stanley Cup yet, but that's a strong team. They're big. They got skill. Former Ranger Neil Pionk has almost 29 points, by the way.
Insane.
And then you got the goaltender in that. Hellenbuck was probably as good as anybody in the league right now.
Else, yep.
Their biggest problem is that hurdle. The big hurdle is the first round of the playoffs. For some reason, they come up a little lame in that. Right. And if they can get past the first round this year, they could be a team that might be reckoned with.
And it's crazy. It's crazy, but when everybody put their parlays out there and their bets out, I don't think they had Winnipeg where they are now.
No, but I think they probably had Winnipeg in the top 4 teams in the West, though, Paul. I think you're underestimating it a little bit. I think
he was halfway there.
The biggest surprise to me in the West is the LA Kings, and the other biggest surprise in the East is obviously Washington. You got to stand by it. Washington was a team that barely made the playoffs last year.
Right, they squeaked in. Yeah.
And now they're beastly. They're a good hockey club.
I'll tell you, I'm a little surprised with Ottawa. I wouldn't have thought that they would have been bidding for a playoff spot this year. And but with that guy over there that I love so much, Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah.
I tell you, man, he's probably one of my favorite hockey players right now. In today's day and age of hockey players, he's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, he'd look good. He'd look good in a Ranger uniform or a Toronto Maple Leaf uniform, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I'd give up the house for him too, man. I'd give up a lot for him. Let's see here. What else do I want to talk about here? We're going to talk about the Taco trade because I don't think we got into that. I know we talked about the Cuba trade. We'll talk about.
Go ahead. How about the Rangers picking up? Let's see here today on waivers. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Arthur Kaliev from LA.
What do you think?
I have no idea. I was hoping you had something on him or somebody in the comment room.
I'll tell you what. Second round, 33 overall. He's a young kid. He's 23 years old. He's a big kid, 6'2". I think he weighs in about 210 pounds. I mean, you got rid of Kako and you got a stepbrother. So you didn't really do. Apparently, he's got decent hands. He's just not great defensively.
Yeah, but is he soft like a marshmallow?
No, I don't believe that he is soft.
For some reason, when they get to the Rangers, they become soft.
Listen, I don't think he's going to be racking up the PIMs if that's what you're
doing. I'm not looking at that. I'm just looking at somebody that's – listen, if you're supposed to be I'm going to get into it here with you. If you're supposed to be an offensive leader on your team, but you're not scoring, the least you can do is hit somebody.
Do something.
No, hit somebody. Not just do something. Hit somebody. Take the fucking body. I don't want to see another soft player cruising up and down the ice when a chance to hit somebody, they go right by them. There's so many opportunities to hit in this game today, and yet there's too many players that won't take that opportunity to do it. And I just
Kreider does drive-bys all the time.
I don't think the Rangers need another guy like that. I'm hoping he's not. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, understood. Understood. Listen, picking guys off waivers for, not. I don't think his contract is, over the,
he's I'm going to say it because it kind of hurts. He's in the 830-something thousand mark.
Yeah.
I mean, only. I'm having a heart attack. Only.
Yeah. So, he's he's from like Uzbekistan or whatever, but he's a New Jersey boy.
He went from Jersey to Staten Island to Michigan or something like that. 2 years he plays, and he made as much money as I did in 10 years playing the NHL.
That's hilarious, right?
Fuck. I start thinking about that once in a while. I know we're getting off base here, but we got paid when I played, we got 13 and a half paychecks during the season. That's what it worked out to.
13 and a half.
13 and a half. Now, if I was making 10 times more, I'll say, than I was making now compared to then, that means I'd be getting a check for about $95,000 to $105,000 every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Imagine how hard that is to take. And that we're only talking like $1.5 million there, 1.7, 8, 9 mil.
Right.
What about the guys that are making 8 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil?
Yeah.
They're 10 times my 10 times.
And it's still the fucking lowest paid sport. Isn't that a shame?
It's
fucking baseball. What's this fucking Juan Soto they paid him? What'd they pay him again? What was it? 160?
500, wasn't it 575 million or 650 million? I don't know what it was.
Whatever it is to make you throw up. Okay. But anyway, we definitely are digressing. We're digressing.
Who's the stupid one though, Paul? I keep telling you, the people that are stupid are the fans that pay for it. Come on. Where do you think they're going to get the money from the pay the salaries? You think the owner printing them? No, he's taking your money. That'll be $14 for a 4-ounce cup of beer. You know. Anyhow, you're right. Let's get back to the hockey stuff.
So I don't know the answer to this, but Carl's got a good question. And no, I think it's the team, as the team has played 8 games. So now that Rempe was sent down, whatever he gets recalled, he can't play until he finishes his 8-game suspension.
Yeah, I think he's 1 game short of it.
So yeah, it's the amount of games for that team, not if he's up or down.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think he can play in Hartford. He just can't play in the NHL, I believe. I don't know, Beth. You're going to have to check that stat and let us know. That's a good one.
I have no idea. First of all, we never talked about it, but his 8-game suspension was a joke. Way too much. But this is the old repeat offender bullshit that the NHL loves to use so much. So why didn't Foligno get a penalty for hitting Morgan yesterday from behind?
No penalty.
Right in front of the referee, right there.
Nope.
You hit him on the numbers.
Right. Nothing. You got guts. You got guts. So I don't know how that works, but I'm pretty sure, Carl, that if it's just the amount, it's 8 games that the team has that he cannot play in. He can play in Hartford, and if they call him up after they've played 8 games, he's eligible to play. So I'm pretty sure that's how that works, if that's the question that you're asking.
Let's hope that that's the way it is, because I know I'm going against a lot of fans' wishes, but I still think it should be with the big club.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I don't give a shit. You got to live and die with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And the NHL's got to wake the fuck up too, and stop already protracting what this guy does and this guy does and this guy does and this guy does, because they seem to pick on certain guys. And those 2 clowns in the office there, George Peros, and who's the other one that hands out the discipline?
George Peros.
And somebody else too. I can't remember. These guys of all people should know better.
George Peros.
I'll be honest with you. The Rempe hit on that Heiskanen or whatever it was, to me,
Hockey.
8 games for that?
That's fucking ridiculous.
And then a couple games later, one of the Rangers gets a stick right across his face and nothing.
Yeah.
So it's bullshit. Anyhow.
Beth, what are you trying to say? No, he cannot play in the AHL either. So he's got to do 8 games no matter what. He can't play anywhere until 8 consecutive games have been played. Now, here's my question. They have different schedules, though, Beth. I'm not sure that that's correct, because they might not play the same nights.
Right? I hate to do this to you, Pauly, but I got my money on Beth on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I get it. But with them having different schedules, that would – I mean, if the Rangers played last night and Hartford plays tonight, does that count as 2 games? What do we go? We going with the NHL games schedule?
I don't know, but I think there's some kind of a rule where that manipulation that you're describing was being done back in the day to bypass. Let's send him to the minors that way there you can play and all that shit. But I think there's a rule. I'm not 100%, but I think there's a rule that says you cannot do that anymore. He has to serve.
So he's got to serve 8 NHL games. He can't play in any facet. That might be
That might be the rule. I don't know.
Understood. And then after the 8 games, then he can go play in the minors. It'll come up, whatever.
Yeah.
Check your text. Oh, you must have sent me some good information here. Let's see.
All right.
Look at this. God. No, an NHL player who is suspended cannot play for an AHL team while their suspension is active. Players are not allowed to participate in any games, including regular season playoff expedition or tournament games, until their suspension has been served. And boom, there it is. Very good.
I think that rule was changed a few years ago for the way you just
For
explained
that
it.
very reason. Yeah, makes sense.
So Beth
Makes sense.
was right again.
She was right. She was right. All right. Kako. Did we talk about this trade?
No, not really. Well, I think we did a little about Morgan, and the trade was made, I think, before our last show. So
Well, yeah. So we did talk about it.
yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Hey, is there anything you want to add? He's played 4 games and has 4 points. Does anybody really care?
Well, again, I'm a firm believer that I don't like looking at what they do after they leave the team that you follow. People tend to do that all the time. The problem with Kotsopoulos' tenure in New York was he had multiple chances early, not lately in his career there, but early to take a hold of a first-line job, and it never came to fruition.
Right.
Not to say that he can't blossom somewhere else, but there's a pecking order. I don't know how many times I have to say this to people. You got guys making $8 million, $10 million, $12 million, $6 million that are ahead of you. And if you don't outshine them one way or another, you're not going to get that job. And that's what happened in New York. He was never able to grasp hold of a top line, left wing, right wing, whatever he played.
Yeah.
I had a good talk with him in the summertime. I never talked to him before. I had a good talk, but he knew what was going on. And you can't blame the guy for being frustrated. I think he said it right, Pauly. I'm not a negative on the ice.
Right.
He was a plus player.
Yeah.
When the guys ahead of them,
Not so much.
we can't count as high as they're negative.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and Morgan's done a good job. I mean, I heard he was a real physical guy. I heard he could fight, and I seen some of the physical part. I think he's smart. This guy I just waiting to see if he can fight, like people say. Drop the gloves.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stay-at-home guy. That's what I like about him. He's not doing anything stupid.
He's a free agent. He's a free agent too, I think, after this year. So.
He is, and that's okay. I'm not sure he's going to be commanding 20% of the cap. So
No.
I'm not too worried about it. I like him. And it helps solidify back there. I think the Rangers are very rich when it comes to defensemen, though. I'll be honest with you. I think they have, you got Jones sitting. You got,
he sounded off too last week.
He was pissed off. Yeah, of course he is.
That was a F-bomb soliloquy, whatever they say.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I don't blame him for being angry.
Good. We need that passion. Hey, listen. I know he doesn't have Fox's vision, but he definitely's got the legs that.
He's a better skater than Fox.
Much better skater than Fox. I think he's a better handler.
I think he handles the puck as good or better.
Yep. I just don't know that, he hasn't showed the vision that Fox has. But listen, at the end of the day, man, yep, I like Harper too. I love Big Ben Harper. I don't know, I know he got hurt last year, Cots.
No, he's been playing pretty good down there. He's actually dropped the gloves a couple times and beat the shit out of a few people.
Yeah, he's a big dude. I love him.
Mackey's playing well down there too.
Yep.
Every time I see him in a fight, he usually wins. So.
Yeah. So I think they're very rich in that department. I got it. We got it. We'll talk about it. So I guess we'll start here. God, I can't believe how much time has ran past already.
Oh, it's good. We got 20 minutes to go here. So
let's talk. Let's talk first and foremost. Let's talk yesterday. Okay, against the Blackhawks. You called it a laugher.
Well, they haven't had a laugher in months. They haven't had a laugher yet this year. And it was a laugher. They were allowed to. They gave up the first goal, and they came back, took a 5-1 lead. That to me is a laugher. That means you can almost put it in cruise. Teams do that when they get a big lead like that.
Sure.
It's the first time in who knows how long the Rangers have been able to float along the rest of the game.
Right.
The Mink was pretty good in that for them. Hito was awesome. Cooley was awesome. That whole line was awesome when you think about it.
Yeah.
But it is, you're not beating you're not beating an upper tier team. So, but any win right now is a good win for the Rangers. So,
guys, let's talk about Barol. What do you like? What do you like? I like this kid.
Oh, I told you a little while ago, and I was using Marty St. Louis as an example. He's got a little bit of Marty St. Louis with his quickness and his stick handling ability, and he's not afraid to shoot the puck.
That's all he wants to do. Yeah.
He ain't giving up the pass, giving it up to you for the pass. Screw
right.
That. I think he's a keeper, and I think you can live with his size because he does get mixed up out there. He does take the body. He pushes back after a whistle. You got to like that in a guy his size. And I think he's got the ability. Sure. So, I think he's definitely a keeper for now for the Rangers, and it's just a matter of how far he progresses the rest of the way of the year. And then when you increase the ice time, we'll see how good he really is. And I think he's got it, to be honest with you. Well,
I mean, you had Kako playing on that line, and I honestly think that Berard brings a little more fun to that line, and a little, like you said, man, I like it. He's quick. He's quick to the puck. He's not afraid. He'll go in any corner. He's not necessarily he's not a big guy, but I like him. I do like him, and I agree with you. I think he's a keeper, and I think it's an exciting part of what's next for the New York Rangers. Kots, we got to talk about. There was a lot said over the weekend, and you and I were talking a little bit about it before we started the show. But it was Saturday night against Washington where. Messier was like, well, the guys are upset. They can't seem to bring it together. I just don't. That stuff doesn't make sense to me. When players are mad at management, I mean, you're getting paid a handsome amount of money to play a game, and I don't know that. I never thought that we're upset with management. So what? We're just going to suck because we're just not going to play hockey because we're mad at management because of the way they treated other players or whatever the case may be is.
Well, I would hope that that's not the case. That's just me as my preference as a player in the dressing room. When I was in the dressing room, you still got to have pride in your game. Okay.
Right.
So if you're mad at management and you're mad at coaching and you're not producing, who's that on?
Right.
That's not on management. That's not on coaching. That's on you as a player. That means to me you got no fucking pride in your own game. You don't look at the mirror and say that, I suck right now. I got to do better. That's basically what's happened here when it comes to the performance of the Rangers over the last 60-plus days, having a record of 5-18. Yeah. You go from 12-4-1 to 5-18 or something like that. Right. You go from a quality roster. regardless what we think, regardless how you say it's not good enough to win a Stanley Cup and everybody else, it's still a quality roster going into this season, Paul. Quality roster means to me you're still in the top 5 to 8 teams in the league. Maybe not good enough to go all the way, but you're a quality team. And the roster is still quality. But how did that all disappear?
How do you go from first to worst?
Well, like I was talking to a former friend of mine that I played with, and I said to him, like when I played in Hartford, I mean, I loved my teammates, and I loved the fans of Hartford. But when you looked at our roster, there was no quality there. So that's why we lost a lot. We lost a lot because we just didn't have the quality. We had a lot of rerun guys, that they were catching a last 2-year paycheck on the team.
Right.
Guys are mid-30s and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? This is not the case with the Rangers. There's quality hockey players on this team, but they're not performing. And to me, it starts with the top guys. I don't care what you say. You're the third line, fourth line guy, and you're in that dressing room, and you obviously got to keep your mouth shut and keep it quiet because you know what I mean. Nobody really looks at you for emotional, boosts or anything like that. But you're looking around the room and you're seeing some of the top guys that are minus 19, minus whatever, minus this, minus that, and they're still getting the ice time. And they're still getting, the opportunity to play rather than be told, "Hey, you're not doing it right now. You're not being good enough for us right now." And that's where you might have a little bit of a friction in the team. But I don't think that's the case, Pauly. I just think we got a team here in New York right now that is not performing. I don't care what anybody says. Artemi Panarin, you're a wonderful hockey player. But you haven't done nothing in the last month and a half himself. He was on a pace for 1.5 a game, no problem. Now he's about even now. Alex Lafreniere, you've disappeared since the new contract that you got. Zibanejad has struggled from out of the gate, but I will say this. He played better the last 2 games.
Yeah, I agree.
I do agree with you what we talked about earlier. Okay? The goaltending hasn't been as great as it has been in the past. But I'm not going to blame them. How do you blame goaltending for an NHL player that doesn't understand it? You still, regardless of how you play, have a responsibility to defense.
Right.
If I'm a fucking 50-goal scorer and I'm the last guy back to our own zone, I'm an idiot because I still have a responsibility to pick up my man in that zone and not lollygag your way back. That's the part that bothers me the most right now. I think that's the biggest problem you have on this team. It's the defense is not coming first. When you're not scoring goals, Pauly, in the National Hockey League, there's one thing you can do: prevent them. Be extra careful and extra sharp on preventing, and then you work your way out of your slump scoring-wise. But
right.
if you're just going to go up and down the ice and just throw like the kitchen sink offensively and everything, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You're going to make a cross-ice pass inside their blue line. It's going to get picked off. Next thing you know, it's an odd-man rush.
Yep.
The other night in Washington, I finally felt for the first time that was hard to watch because they clawed their way back. I don't know how many times in that game.
3.
With lots of time left still to tie it up. And then what happens within a minute later?
They gave it back up.
And that's just lack of responsibility defensively. It's not just the defensemen, it's the forwards too. That's the part that's killing this team right now. Is their lackadaisical play defensively. You got to be responsible out there. When times are tough, and they're tough for them right now, the one thing you can do and make sure you play good defense. You don't need the puck to play good defense, Pauly. Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
And I just don't understand that part at all. Like how these guys got to the NHL, I don't understand that part of it.
Well, I got to tell you, too, I was texting you yesterday. I was fucking hot yesterday just
I know
because
you were.
I was hot yesterday for the simple fact that if you watched the game yesterday, right, they have a good lead. They did a lot of good things yesterday, right? You get to the third period, in the first probably 7 to 8 minutes in the third period, you're not playing smart hockey at all. And I went off and I was pissed. And I'm like, how many times are you going to fucking make a play at the blue line? Stop making plays in the blue line. Stop making plays in the neutral zone. Quick ins and quick outs. Stop fucking dicking around looking for that next pass, going across the ice. And I'll tell you, it was the Trocheck line that was driving me fucking crazy. And it was all three of them. It was all three. It was Lafreniere, it was Trocheck, it was fucking Panarin. We got the puck. Dump the fucking puck in. You gain the line, you dump the fucking puck in. If you don't have a fucking clean pass to the net or something, like dump the puck in, let's chase it, let's go around. We don't need to play stupid hockey. Let's get into good fucking habits here. Let's play a shutdown game. Let's play smart. And it was 6 or 7 minutes in. I'm like, turnover in the own zone, turnover in our own zone, turnover in our own, turnover in the neutral zone, turnover in their blue line. And I'm saying to myself, if I'm Laviolette, I'm calling a timeout. And I want you to tell everyone what you said to me because, again, you're a former NHL player. I'm not. But coaching-wise, I'm like, all right, I'm calling a timeout, and I'm going to fucking rip every one of you up and down this fucking line. What the fuck are you doing? Quick ins, quick outs, make the simple play. There's no need to try to make a play. You got a 5-2 lead. There's no need to try to just keep it simple. Play smart, shut down hockey. And if we get opportunities, which we should, this is where I think they have to build, like you said, playing smart defensively, being patient, play smart hockey. That will develop into offense, right? And I would have called the time. I would have said, you know what? Carrick, get out there. I would have fucking sat Trocheck or whoever else I would have sat, and they would have missed a fucking shift or two. Just because it bothered me so much to say, why are you trying to make fucking these stupid plays? Where, who knows? You get a turnaround, bang, bang, they score a goal or two. Their psyche's weak enough as it is. You got the Ming back there. You got to think smarter than what you're doing. That's how I felt yesterday. I got angry. And I was texting you. I'm like, what the fuck is Lavia? What are we doing? And you're like, tell them.
Well, there's a lot to unravel what you said there. First of all, when you're making plays like that with a 5-1 lead, I'm going to go back to where I kind of joked about the Russian 5, but this is the Russian influence in hockey that's been around since then. We're going to make that beautiful play just inside the blue line, but we sometimes forget that there might be a stick in the way. That breaks that thing up instead of being safe and dumping it in. This is that influence has been carried on since the late 80s, Pauly, when they came into the league. No, that's not going to change now because this is what they're bred upon. They're going to make that impossible play in their mind that's not possible. So that's number one, okay? Especially when you're winning 5-1. I like dump the fucking puck in, get the 20 minutes over, then get on the plane and go home.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, getting back to I get what you're saying about if you were the coach, you'd do this, you'd do that. I don't think it's a good thing to do live in the public, personally. I never have liked that. I never like when coaches get in somebody's ear on the bench and starts, the F-bombs and this and that. I don't think that's right. And on this occasion, I don't think it's right to do it now with a team that's very fragile psyche-wise. Okay? You're gonna air it out on public, what do you think? No. Can't do that. Take them in the dressing room, You want to call them into the office and let the paint peel? Go right ahead. That's where it should be done. If that's the case and that needs to be done, that's how it's done. Nobody wants to be embarrassed no matter how good or bad they're playing in public.
Right.
And that's the only thing I disagree with you on that. But you're right. I mean, I don't know why you're still trying to pad your score sheet or something. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, you got a lowly Chicago team that's rebuilding and all that, and you're trying to pad the score sheet when it's 5-1. You know what I mean? 6-1 or whatever it ended up being 6-2. I don't know, man. I think the game has changed so much because of that European influence that they're still trying to make that special pass that the odds are 1 in 10 to make. Right. They still refuse to shoot when they can, just to make that one special pass. And this is the whole league. This is the whole league now, Paul. It's not just the Rangers. But being what you said, unraveling what you said, you're a team that's struggling right now. So why are you trying all this fancy-dancy bullshit? Get a shot on goal, dump it in the corner. Go chase it. Go get it. Get a shot on goal. Doesn't matter how hard it is. Put it on goal. But doing a cross-ice pass constantly, you can't do that. You can't do that.
What bothers me is that I get it's the Chicago Blackhawks, but when you're struggling the way you are, you're doing what you're doing, I think in my mind, and I do have more of a coaching type of mind to say, this is the time to really drive home the mechanics of the game, the basics of the game. Let's start to, and you talked about it before. Let's play the right way. If we're not winning and we're not succeeding, let's get back to basics. Let's play hockey 101. And that's what bothered me about this. Was
I totally agree with your whole argument.
I mean, if you're playing a better team,
you don't want to embarrass anybody in public, though. You know what I mean?
Understood. But if you're playing a better team and you're doing stupid shit like that, boom, boom, before you know it,
but that's what they've been
doing. Game in the third period.
But that's what they've been doing. That's why they lost 18 out of their last 20-something odd games.
And you talk about the Washington game. You got to keep things simple, especially when you're losing. You're not doing well, man. Let's keep it simple. Let's avoid the stupid shit. Don't get me wrong. I want to see great plays, and I want you to make the pass when you can, that beautiful pass to Riley Smith. There's times, but when we're all dancing around the fucking neutral zone, the punks bouncing around, and you got a 5-1 lead, and you're trying to go cross ice to fucking, like you said, to make this pretty pass, 1 in a fucking million. It's actually dump the fucking puck. Let's chase. Let's do this again. And then the same thing in the defense. It drives me nuts. I'm watching defensemen. I'm going to eat the puck. I'm not going to fucking play the puck hard. The way it's coming around is the way it's going back around. It ain't that fucking hard. No, I want to stop it. I want to go up the fucking middle this time. I want to do, and you're losing pucks.
And a lot of times they wait too long to make a play that it never gets.
The puck's still fucking moving. Keep moving the puck.
That goes back to what I'm talking about, the safe play.
Yeah.
You get the puck, you look quick. Nobody's off the board's out. But you wait, the guy's on you. Now you try to make a pass. It hits the guy's stick. It stays inside your blue line. Hits his skate, stays inside the blue line because you tried to make the cute fucking pass.
Yeah.
That's great when you're a winning hockey club. That's great when you got a team that scored 5 goals or more a game. But when you're in a slump like they are, they're in a slump. Okay?
Yep.
You can't be doing that shit.
No.
You can't be. Like the basics, it has to start from defense first, not offense first.
Right.
You can't get out of this thing by saying, okay, we're just going to go full bore ahead offensively and try to win 8-7 every night. That's not going to happen.
Right.
They're too lackadaisical on the defensive side right now, Paul. That's what they are. And it's not a coaching thing. I'm sure they get told. I'm sure they get told this is the way we play defense in our own zone. This is the way we're supposed to play defense in the neutral zone. This is the way we're supposed to forecheck. But if they don't listen and they don't do it, who's it on?
Right.
And as a coach these days, it's pretty hard to rile up somebody who's making $5 to $10 million a year. You know, how angry is he going to get? That's the thing I always question about the modern day salaries.
Yeah.
The pride part. Are you still prideful of what you're doing out there, or are you just happy that you got a mansion and 16 cars?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And trust me, there's players like that, not just on the Rangers, everywhere. You know, they're never going to get angry at anything. They're not going to answer back. All they got to do is look at their bank account and go, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a big difference in the way the players are paid today and how they act when it comes to self-pride about how they're playing.
So there was another thing that we talked about before we went live, Chris, and I kind of want you to, let's talk about it a little bit. I said, hey, how do you go from where we were last year to where we are now with the same pretty much core players, right? And, you brought up a couple of good points that I want everyone to hear is, you're working with the same core. You're not getting the same result, obviously. Is this team, going into the season, we thought, well, I guess Drew's going to wait till the deadline because you got this team that won the President's Trophy last year, and it looks like it might just be a couple of pieces away from possibly winning it all. Now sitting where they are today, is this team still a couple of pieces away? Is it a lot of pieces away? Is it time to rebuild? Is it what's next for this team?
Well, going into the season, I actually thought that this is it was going to be a positive step forward again because there was a couple of things that I liked. I liked the way Cooley ended the year last year. Okay, I knew he was going to be better this year. I still say you got to have Rempe on the team because that takes care of any of the fucking shenanigans that happen with other teams, stuff like that. So I was pretty happy about that. Getting a guy like Carrick, Goodrow for Carrick, it works out pretty good for both teams. Okay, Carrick plays pretty hard. So, and I'm thinking, you got the best dual goaltending in the league right now, going into the season. The problem is when you mentioned the core, how many have progressed from what they are and how many have regressed from what they are?
Kreider looks terrible.
That's what you got to look at. Adam Fox is not lighting it up this year either.
He's got one goal. Last year, this time he probably had 6.
You're going with the same group of guys on the power play that are the highest paid players on the team, and the power play, and it sucks right now. The penalty killing which was really, really good, sucks right now. Well, who are the guys that are on the power play and the penalty kill when they were good? The same guys. So they're not living up to their job. I don't care if I hurt anybody's feeling about this. It's a fact. What you asking the $850,000 a year player to do it for you when you're making 12? You're asking the $1.2 million defenseman to make up for the guy that's making $8 million? Doesn't work that way, Pauly.
I agree.
Those guys aren't getting the ice time that those guys get.
Right.
So that's my feeling on that there. I think there's a lot of guys' games, obviously, have regressed. But how do you I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in my lifetime in hockey, how the flip over from from 12-4-1, and a lot of people were complaining, including you, to this. It's hard for me to comprehend. I don't think I've ever seen it. It goes back to what I said about if you had no quality on the roster, I get it. I get it totally. You were doing it with Mirrors winning. But now
I want to definitely talk about the power play. We talked about 2 players that we're just not seeing it from. First of all, I mean, you look at Chris Kreider's last year and the year before, right? Chris Kreider on the power play was like it was who he was, and it was why everybody was talking about him. Because, I mean, if there was a place he was going to score a goal, it was on the power play, off the deflection, and it was usually either off Panarin's stick or Fox's stick. You're not seeing that right now, and I don't know what has Kreider got 10 goals, 12, 10 goals,
something like 11, something like that.
Whatever he's got, but the power play, it's just. We're not seeing that combination where Kreider's deflecting pucks and they're going in the net, or anybody for that matter deflecting pucks and going in the net. So, that's a huge component. And I complained last year, when I said, all I'm seeing is the only thing that's working on this team is the power play. Power play, penalty kills, they were special teams, and then goaltending was just absolutely phenomenal. You don't have those components right now, and this is what we're looking at.
Well, the power play hurts you when it's 1 for 30.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not at least 15%, and I'm being nice there at 15. It should be around 20.
Right.
But right now they're not. What's 1 in 30? That's like less than whatever percent. It's not good enough. And you think about how good they were the year before and the year before on the power play.
Yeah.
That's probably at least another 5 more wins if they scored in those games like they should.
Yeah.
Instead of being where they are right now.
I agree with you 100%.
So but again, it comes down to this, Pauly. What are you going to do? I want to get into the part where I'm going to jump ahead of you now. Everybody's crying. You got to make moves. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do this. Is there a move out there that instantly makes you better, even if you give up your better players? That's the big thing. It may be down the road if you can make that kind of deal for a couple of players, for a couple of yours, but it's not going to make an immediate impact right now. It's just not. You take a look. When's the last time did you see two teams trade their best players for each other? I'm bringing this up today because I got it from one of my former teammates.
It was Huberdeau and Kachuk.
But did they win right away?
Nope.
It took them 3 years after that trade.
Was it that long? 3 years? Yeah.
Yes. It took 3 years for that to come to fruition.
I know
because Uyghur was the defenseman that got sent there too from Florida. Remember, he had 72 points or something like that his last year in Florida. He was their top defenseman.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's not like they got shit in return, Huberdeau and Uyghur for Kachuk and whoever. I'm just giving you an example. It's not, even when you make that kind of trade, it's not an instant impact trade. It might take a year or two. So what they have is what they have. It's up to them to pull their big boy pants up and look in the mirror and take some fucking responsibility for the lack of play and living up to their expectations. That's what it comes down to. It's not a coaching thing. It's not a management thing. You can sit there and say what you want. I don't know anybody like on a regular job that goes to work with the thought in mind of like, hey, I'm just gonna fuck the dog today and be lazy about it. Most people have pride in what they do. Most people.
Let me ask you a question. Just shooting shit out here, right? I'm gonna throw one at you. Let's say you move Chris Kreider, and I don't know. You want to talk about Zach Jones? Let's say Chris Kreider. You move Chris Kreider and Zach Jones over to Nashville, and you grab Stamkos. What do you think? You don't think Stamkos helps Zibanejad? You don't think he helps the power play too? I think he does.
I do, but we're talking about picking up a guy.
I get it.
That's 34 going on 35. He's older than Kreider. Okay,
Understood.
and he's making $2 million more, I think, than Kreider.
Okay,
$3 million more, and he's got 3 or 4 more years left on his contract.
understood. I understand every bit of it. Do you think that's a shot in the arm to help this team get moving this year? Because at the end of the day, Cots, we got to say this core isn't getting any better come next year, right? So it's either now or never. You do what you fucking can to kind of to.
Well, I'm not disregarding the fact that you might make a trade or two, but if you're looking for instant success, not going to happen.
No, see, I think
you get a Connor McDavid in a trade, sure, there'll be instant success, but Steven Stamkos at 34-35, no. Sorry, big boy. He's had a great career. What does he do on the power play with Zibanejad? He's basically going to take Zibanejad's job by having a one-timer on the side. That's all he's going to do. I don't know. I don't know if I'd make that deal.
Yeah.
You might if you're bringing up names for your namesake, you trade those two. I would look for a decent player somewhere in between, like a third and a second liner, and maybe some draft prospects.
What do you think about JT Miller?
Well, he's still got game in him, and he's not like 35 or 33. I think he's around 30 now. He's still got game in him.
So, do you think he's an instant gratification help?
He'd help, but it's not. You're not going to change the team that much that you think you're going to contend for a Stanley Cup, Pauly.
No, I think there'd have to be more than one move. Absolutely.
You're not going to get an earth-shattering trade that's going to make your team favorite to win the Stanley Cup.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the Stamkos thing would be great if he only had another year on his contract. But they got enough problems with Zibanejad's contract. You don't need another 4 years on another guy's contract.
I get it, man. Get it.
No,
I just don't see the value, and I think the problem with me is that I think Chris Kreider's. I think he's done. I don't know that he is going to produce 45 and 55 goals moving forward from here, right?
Yeah, but I don't think Stamkos is either.
Yeah. See, I think Stamkos brings that leadership that the Rangers are looking for. This is a Stanley Cup winning guy. He's a captain of a team. I think he's definitely offensively more gifted than fucking Kreider is. I got to tell you.
Oh, I agree with that.
He's got a better shot. I think he's much more productive. I think he sees the ice better. I think he's he can play it. So, I mean, I get it. Listen, I don't, like you said, there's no magic wand. I think this team is going to have to do either a lot of one or two big things or a lot of really important little things. But I'm talking about this team right now. Where can they go? What can they do?
The guys that are all being mentioned, okay, that are possible trade, all make a good amount of money.
Yeah.
So you have to find the right fit, money-wise, before you even talk about what you're going to get back in return. Because what you get back in return, if it's equal, you're in the same spot cap-wise.
Yeah.
There's so many variables to this stuff that it's not as cut and dry as it was in my day. You traded a guy, he had $300,000 left on his contract for 3 years. That's the kind of money we're talking back then. Now you got a guy who traded. He's got 3 years left on his contract. It's $9 million a year, $27 million.
Yeah,
I mean it's tough. I don't know. I think that the only hope they have right now is they regroup. Okay, personally, they regroup. They look within themselves and say, we got to be better, from Panarin all the way down to Fox and everybody in between. We have to be better as players on the ice. We have to play smarter hockey. And then if they get back to the point where they're borderline or they're in the wild card spot, then you can maybe make a trade that you want to make, maybe to pump it up for one last gasp. But up until then, Paul, I don't see anything happening like that. I don't see anything happening where you're going to make a deal. That's the only way you can do that is you're going to have to trade teams. Let's trade our team for Florida. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's a hard thing to explain to people these days. I think everybody jumps ahead of themselves, thinking, "Well, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid of this guy." I see CJ wanting us to talk about Keandre Miller. Keandre Miller is going to be a great asset if you're thinking about trading him. I'm sure there's lots of teams that would take him right now. But are the Rangers willing to do that? They continue to think that he's still a viable player in the National Hockey League, which I think at times he does show that. But there's a lot of times he makes me scratch my head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, really? You've been in the league this long, and that's the play you made?
Right.
It's not as easy as everybody thinks. I know I keep saying that to you week in, week out when we do this show, but it's really not. Pauly, you want to replace Kreider and say Zach Jones for Stamkos. If you're asking me bluntly, will that help the team? It would help the team. But to how for how long and how much?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think.
It's not like Stamkos didn't go to a team that already had a few players like Forsberg, and who's the other guy they got from Vegas there, Marchessault? You know what I mean? And how they doing? How they doing there? Not very fucking good, are they?
Not good. They got I mean,
they got Roman Josi there, one of the top defensemen in the league, who's in a slump right now. I mean, I've been reading a little bit about it.
And they got good goaltending too.
And they still stink. So
yeah. They're terrible. Well, they stink like we do. We're not much better than they are.
Hey, we're 2-1 in the new year, folks.
That's true. So, and again, that's just me throwing shit at the wall to see what's
I get it.
Trying to understand, is it a piece or two that reverts what we have? Like, does that wake up the Panarins and the Lafrenieres and the Trocheks and the Zibanejets? I'm trying to take a guy that has what people think is what I say mentally people have built value in. Somehow Chris Kreider has some type of value. Miller has value. Again, I tell you that for the right, I would trade Miller. And I don't care about the repercussions in the future. Because, again, we're talking about, like you said, you're still looking at the same fucking thing next year with Zibanejad. He's not going away. So how do we get him confident? How do we get him back on the right side of the puck? We've talked about it. He's played a couple of good games. I don't think he's dead. I don't think he's a dead fish. I think Kreider's a dead fish. If I was to tell you, hey, I think there's game left in Zibanejad. I think right now he's mentally weak. I think there's something going on. But when you said it in the past, this guy's skill set and his abilities, I think he still can contribute to this hockey team. I think Panarin can too. Obviously, we're still waiting for Lafreniere. I'm still waiting for Lafreniere. He had a good season last year where everyone was talking about him. Hey, maybe we shouldn't give up on this kid. And this fucking year, he's disappeared. He's like,
but again, he started out great when they were 12-4-1. But he's like the rest of them right now. Go look. I want you to go one day, look at all the numbers from the leading scorers all the way down the list when they started this slump.
The slide in November.
See what kind of offense your top guys were giving you.
Yeah, well, Panarin was on a fucking like a 12-game point scoring streak.
Not anymore.
I get it.
Not anymore.
But him,
I think in the last 20-something odd games, Panarin's lucky he's got 4 goals, maybe 5 goals.
I understand. I get it. But
it's affected them all, is what I'm saying. It's not just Zibanejad. It's affected them all. All the top guys have been affected by this.
So, I mean, are we in agreement that I guess there isn't a short-term answer? And then
I don't think there's a short-term answer. I really don't.
So then
if you're thinking about seriously contending for the Stanley Cup right now,
this year,
I don't think there's a short-term answer. You can't make it a trade for something right now that's going to automatically put you into the top 5, 6 tier in the league.
Okay.
No,
then why aren't we making moves? What do you think?
It's not as easy as you think, cap-wise. It's not as easy as you think. There's so many ramifications here, Pauly. What are you going to do? Trade guys? You're going to trade guys like Miller, who's got potential, like teams wanting him for what? Another $850,000 slug defenseman? You understand what I'm saying here?
I understood. No, I would trade Miller.
If you're going to trade guys like Miller and Kreider and Zibanejad, you got to get something back that's at least equal to them or a little bit maybe below them, but money-wise too.
Right. Well, I'm sure.
How easy is that to do?
Yeah, I know. I get it. I think the teams that are on the cusp would be interested in a Kreider, though.
Well, yeah, but they also teams that are at the cup level, I'll guarantee you they're maxed out in the cap right now too.
Yeah.
So they got to work out something where it works out for both teams money-wise.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, Drury did one thing with the Goodrow contract. They took most of it. Whatever was left in Anaheim. I mean, it was only another year or two or something like that, but they took most of the contract.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to navigate through the NHL today about trades. If trades were that easy to make today, there'd be more of them. Every week there'd be a trade. Because every team thinks, well, shit, if I get this guy, that'll put us over the top. If I get this guy, that'll put us over the top.
Right.
If we add this guy to our power play, that'll get us over the top. They probably think like you do, Pauly, but they know in the offices that we can't make that deal. Because what I'm giving up is not going to work out cap-wise. And what I'm getting back is going to put us over the cap, or vice versa. You know what I mean? It's so fucked up. It's a fucked up system. It just is.
Yeah.
It's up to them now, Pauly. If these guys get back to playing up to their potential, I think they have a potential to get into the wild card spot. I do. And then you might make that move at the end to add to the team as you're going into the playoffs. That's a possibility of happening. But they got to play themselves. They got to play themselves out of their own funk.
Yeah.
That comes down to that.
Yeah.
It comes down to the players having pride in themselves, pride in their game, and pride in wearing that jersey and stop worrying about all the outside shit and go out there and play. Stick together as a team, too. Stop the fucking if there's any bullshit going on about what the players are angry about this, you got to stop that shit. You got a job to do. You got fans paying hard-earned money to watch you play. Not watch you guys cry about this and cry about that.
Yeah.
Crying goes on, Pauly, but this stuff leaking out bothers me.
Yeah, I agree.
Bothers me, player. Like, it's not self-contained.
Yeah.
The media gets a hold of it, then the story gets into the fish story by a fan, gets into another one, and the next thing you know, everybody believes that it's just a complete mess, inside that dressing room, which is possible, but, people believe in anything these days. I just don't like the fact that you're airing out any kind of laundry.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get traded like Kotsopoulos did.
Yeah. Agreed.
Zach Jones is worse than Kotsopoulos, and he's still there.
Yeah. I think they want to hold Zach. I really do. I think he makes this team next year. I'll bet on it.
Let me ask you the question right now, though. Who's untouchable? on the Rangers right now?
Unfortunately, I mean, to me, I'm not Chris Drury, but for me, there's nobody that's untouchable. I'll trade whoever the fuck you want to trade as long as I'm getting what I want. And we talked about this all the time. But I think obviously, with the fan base and Drury and everything, unfortunately, I believe Lafreniere is untouchable right now, which, I don't know. I think he has trade value. I don't know. I think this team is madly in love with Cooley. I know I am. So I would say but I mean, I don't know. Is Panarin untouchable? Or is he touchable? Because I would think that Panarin would be an asset to a team.
I'm just asking you, if you're running the Rangers right now, who would be somebody that you would?
Well, I'll tell you right now. I don't care what anyone says. The first fucking place I'd be going, I'd be knocking on the door of Ottawa. You know that. And you know what? If you want Will Cooley, I'm going to give you Will Cooley. And if you want fucking Lafreniere, I'm going to give you Lafreniere. I'm going to get Brady Tkachuk. That's who I'm going to get. I'm going to make that offer. I'm going to tell you right now. I think Brady Tkachuk is a fucking franchise player. I don't care what you give up for him. As long as it's smart. Now, I'm not going to give every great player I have. Okay, you want Lafreniere, you want Jones or Miller, or, okay, you want Lafreniere and Miller, and I get a Brady Tkachuk, and, we exchange draft picks or whatever else. Fair enough. For the right player, I'll go out and get me a Brady Tkachuk. I mean, is there anybody untouchable for, let's say, fucking, I don't know. I mean, I think Mitch Marner. Is this Marner's last year on his?
They're going to end up paying him. You watch,
right? So, do I think about that? Who would I give up for Marner? I don't know. There's a couple things I would consider.
I think Mitch Marner's a great player, but he's not a guy that I'd want on my team to lead the Stanley. He'd be the lead guy.
No, I get it.
He doesn't play a hard game.
No, I get it. And I wouldn't. And again, depending on who I would have to give up for him, is what we're talking about. But I will tell you, if it's Brady Tkachuk, there's not a fucking player I wouldn't give up.
Okay, so that's your stance right now. But if you do a trade like that, I guarantee you one thing. I would bet you all the money in the world that you're going to suck for the next 4 years. You know that, right?
4, you think?
Oh, yeah, at least, because you're not going to get him for 1 or 2 players. You're going to get him for about 1 to 3 plus fucking prospects. That's what's going to cost you to get him.
Right.
It's going to cost you heavy. It's going to cost you 3 legitimate players and draft choices or prospects or a combination. It's going to be at least a 5-player deal that you're going to have to give up. And it could be somebody that's they've drafted already, number 1 in the Rangers, somebody that's in the minors that's on their way up. It could be Berard. It could be Cooley. And it's going to be a couple other players, too, that are okay. That's what you're going to give up. So yeah, you're going to add, but you're going to detract, too, at the same time. So now you have to build around this guy.
Well, yeah. But I think there's also another way to go around it. I don't disagree, but I feel like the Rangers are very rich in defensemen. So giving up a Zach Jones or a Miller, you get rid of Miller. Okay, we talked about the trade value of Miller because the NHL feels like, oh wow, he could be the next guy. I don't know, whatever. But again, I think. Yeah, you give up assets, but you give up assets where you're rich. We're talking about, we talked about Gabe Perreault. We got Othman, who's just standing down there, just waiting for his opportunities. There's some room to grow too. So we gotta, again, I think this team needs a franchise player. It doesn't have.
I'm not arguing about that. What I'm arguing about is, okay, you get Brady Tkachuk, and I'm going to tell you flat out, there's not 2 players in the Ranger organization that you could trade straight up for him.
Sure.
Ottawa's dreaming. You're dreaming if you're gonna offer your two best players. I'm not taking that deal.
Right.
I'm not taking that deal at all. No, you're not even close. You want to trade for my Brady Tkachuk? You're gonna have to give me 3 bona fide NHLers, and you're gonna have to probably give me three prospects and 3 draft choices. One of them or a combination. Or I'm not making the deal.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's not like you're trading Connor McDavid for Austin Matthews. You know, understand what I'm saying here? We're talking about Brady Tkachuk and down here. That's the level you've got to.
Understood.
So we can only dream. We can only dream. Maybe it's going to be a possibility one day. You know, I don't know. But if Ottawa ever trades him, that could be the end of Ottawa again.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what he's got left on his contract. I don't know where he is in his contracts. You know, I mean,
Buffalo beat the Caps in their shootout.
Good. They still got a fucking point, though.
You mean Ovi didn't score an empty net goal again like he's done about 9 times this year? They killed
score back.
The few games that I've watched this year with Washington, you have one of the worst defensive players in the world in Ovechkin, okay? Never back checks. Doesn't care to back check. And they put him out every time when the other team pulls their goalie.
It's hilarious.
To me, that's just like, you're just trying to pump this guy.
And what's going on with the Avalanche?
Oh, they're making their way back up. They started out real shit. They're back in a wild card spot. And McKinnon's the class of the league right now. Again, leading the league by 5 or 6 points.
I fucking love him, man.
He's the guy I'd like to see.
Yeah, me too. That's a franchise player for sure.
Fuck yeah, he's got a Stanley Cup already.
Yeah.
He's got an Olympic medal. He's got all kinds of shit.
I'm trying to find out for you if Ovi scored. I know you care.
I won't care if he does.
I know. Let's see here. Game center. Who scored? Oh, my fucking favorite, Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson had 2 goals. Nope, he didn't score. Protas scored. Paige Thompson.
They lost to Buffalo in the stupid shootout contest. You know that crap.
Yeah. Anyway.
16.
All right, did we miss anything? Are we good?
Yeah.
I don't see the one question Mike had. Do you think I don't know?
What's Mike? Better not be that frog loving Mike.
No, it's not. It's Mason.
Which one?
Trocheck, next captain. Do you think? What do you think of Trocheck, next captain?
It's possible. Yeah, he plays with a lot of heart. You know what I mean? He's still trying hard, regardless, if things are going well or not.
Yeah, I like Trocheck. I'd like to see a real true. I'd like to see a true guy there, but
then again, if you're a New York Ranger, do you want the captaincy? They've traded everyone.
I know. I have no words at this point. I've never been more disappointed in this team than I am now.
I don't think I've ever seen, like I told you earlier, collapse like this. Like,
yeah,
I get losing, going on a losing, bender, but not like this. Like 18, 19 losses in their last 5 games or something.
Yeah,
that's bottom feeder stuff.
Yeah,
it's Montreal Canadian stuff.
Yeah. All right. That's it. This is a tough week too, man. They got Devils, Dallas. They got fucking what?
You got to remember they did beat Dallas last time they played.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that Igor's going to be back, right? So
Yeah, that's-
it will be Johnny Quick. Let me see here. Devils, Dallas. Come on here.
Somebody else that's good.
Stars, Devils, and the Golden Knights Avalanche.
Whoa.
Yeah, you got 4 ugly games coming, boy. Stars, Devils, Golden Knights, Avalanche, and then they play Utah. And I think they lost to Utah like
At
6-2
home.
this
Yeah, at
year.
home. Yeah.
Then the Blue Jackets, Canadiens, Senators, Flyers, Avalanche again. So this is a tough month, man.
It's been a tough. It's been tough for the last month too. These games haven't been that easy.
No.
But hey, like I said, it's all up to them now. It's not. Nobody else is going to come through that door and help them out right now. Okay, it's up to them. I'm leaving it at that. Ryback, shut the fuck up and go to sleep.
Oh boy.
Fucking go to sleep. Don't you have a truck to start up early this morning?
Go Habs.
Fuck the Habs. Fucking lily pad hoppers.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
What are they going to give Marty St. Louis a fucking 10-year deal with a 5-year plan?
All right, everybody, we're done. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Probably Wednesday. All right. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Let's go, Rangers. It's going to be an ugly week. Now it doesn't want to end the stream. It didn't want to start the stream.